What would you do if your parents, who always made it clear you were an unwanted child, suddenly tried to pull you back into their lives for the sake of their own reputation? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My name is Akash, and from a young age, I knew I was an anomaly. My parents, deeply religious, had planned on being child-free but felt compelled to keep me despite an unwanted pregnancy. The unspoken expectation, which later became a direct declaration, was that I would move out the moment I turned 18. This wasn't a shock, it was simply my reality. So, since the age of 13, I'd been working and diligently saving, accumulating a respectable sum in my savings account. To their credit, they always provided for me financially, though emotional warmth was noticeably absent. They were never abusive, just distant. A week before my 18th birthday, on January 13th, my parents sat me down. The conversation was brief and to the point. Have you found a place to move into yet? My answer was a simple yes, and that was the extent of it. Originally, I had plans to share an apartment with 4 other guys, but a fortuitous turn of events changed everything. A friend's family, also of Indian descent, heard about my situation and extended an incredibly generous offer, their finished basement, complete with a separate entrance, for a mere $150 a month, utilities included, and no down payment. It was a pity offer, as I knew, but one I immediately seized. The day after my birthday, I moved out. My parents didn't contact me, and admittedly, I didn't reach out to them either. The silence was surprisingly peaceful. Then, yesterday, my father called, inviting me to dinner. The atmosphere was thick with awkwardness even before they broached the subject. They wanted me to move back in, promising I wouldn't have to pay rent or anything. But the truth was, I genuinely liked my new living situation. The constant awkwardness and underlying tension that had permeated my childhood home, a tension I hadn't even fully recognized until I was free of it, was completely absent. When I politely declined, thanking them for the offer, my mother burst into tears and left the room. My father, his face contorted with anger, began to scold me. He ranted about how their friends were excluding them due to a rumor that they had thrown me out and that another Desi family had been forced to take me in. You're an adult and you should stay moved out if that's what you feel more comfortable with. I heard a voice in my head, echoing what many would later tell me. You don't need to sacrifice your wants or needs for others. I looked my father directly in the eye and calmly stated that what he described was precisely what had happened, and it was not my responsibility to rescue them from the repercussions of their own choices and actions. The fallout was immediate and widespread. My entire extended family began calling me nonstop, each one echoing the same sentiment: I was being an AH. This reveals my parents' greatest fatal flaw, their profound concern for social image, which ultimately sealed their fate with me. It seems they initially believed I'd move in with strangers, allowing them to spin a narrative of supportive parents fostering independence. But when I moved in with a family from our own community, the pretense crumbled. I suspect the auntie and uncle I'm living with, who are incredibly kind and were genuinely upset by my parents' actions, are the ones who spread the word. They've even offered for me to stay as long as I need, and only accepted rent because I insisted. As one commenter aptly put it, they don't want you back. They want their reputation and social life back. My parents were cold people. I truly deserve far better than the way I've been treated. My parents are now simply facing the consequences of their actions. The story of Akash is a stark reminder that sometimes, the most loving act is to prioritize your own well-being and allow others to face the natural consequences of their choices. What would you have done in Akash's situation when faced with such familial pressure?